Hello friends and welcome to the Southern Mountain Kitchen. Today we're going to make garlic butter shrimp. So what you see on my counter is what we're going to use to make this. And really there isn't a lot that's going to go into it. We're basically going to take frozen shrimp, clean them up, and then we're going to add the flavoring to it to make garlic butter shrimp. But the best thing about this is it's easy to make. It doesn't take a lot of time, and then you can pair this with like other things you want to add, like other seafood, or even if you wanted to make hush puppies or whatever you want to make to go with it, and have kind of like a seafood meal. Because you could do this with even like adding some crab legs or whatever else you want with it, or certain types of fish, and you got a really great mix. And that's the best thing about it. There really isn't a wrong way to do this for adding different things. As long as you have something that goes together, you got it. So these are my shrimp. They're about 1.5 pounds. What I got were the frozen bags. You can get them like at any grocery store or whatever. I used about 1.5 bags, and that was all I really needed. But with mine, they had tails on them, but they had already been deveined. So probably to err on the easy side of life, get the kind that are deveined so you don't have to go in there and take out the vein in the back of it, because we all know what that's supposed to be for. So if you don't feel like cleaning up that mess, just go ahead and get the other kind, because mine is easy enough just to take that frozen bag, pop it into a bowl of water, let it sit for 20-30 minutes until they actually start to thaw out, and then you can just pop those tails right off of there. As you can see, it's really easy with mine. But if you got yours, they're frozen, you want to get them there quicker to start working with them, put them in a bowl of water. All you need is like basically some room temperature water, because you don't want to start cooking these or anything. But just go ahead and set them in, let them do their thing, and that way you can actually clean them up and get them ready to go. Then when they go on a platter after this, we are going to use about 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, and we're going to coat them with this because we want to give them some seasoning, some flavor. So what you want to do is get that on top of there and just mix them together to a point to where all that salt and pepper is going throughout all of them, so everybody gets a little bit of the coating on them, and they're good to go. Then we're going to move on to a large skillet. Now, do me, you need a large one for this. We're going to put in 2 tablespoons of butter and melt it. This is over medium-high heat. And we're going to get this up to temperature, because this is what we're going to put our shrimp into to cook them. Now, you want to get this butter pretty much melted before you bring them into it, because you want the bottom of the pan to be really coated with the butter. We don't want to use oil or anything like that, because that's going to fry the shrimp, not cook them. We don't really want that. But go ahead and just mix this around, get it really coated, and then we're going to bring the shrimp in. And when we bring the shrimp in, what we want to do is just bring them in like 1 or 2 at a time, and just go all the way around the bottom of the pan. You don't want to dump them on top of each other. You don't want thick layers of them, because we want to even cook all of them across the bottom and not have some of them cook parts of them while others are just sitting on top raw and not cooking. We just want a really good cook on the whole thing at once. So just go ahead and keep layering these across until you get them completely across the bottom. Now, when they start to cook, and mine is not up to temperature yet, it's warming up, but I wanted to get that butter really thawed first and then get these in on top before I really start the cook time on it. You're going to do this for 3 to 4 minutes on this side. And then once this is cooked, we're going to go through and flip these and do another 3 to 4 minutes on the other side. So that way they're going to be really cooked, they're going to be really well done by the time we're done with this part of it. So it's just a matter of getting them all in the pan, and once they're cooked, start flipping them. And believe it or not, the best way of doing this is literally, once they've really started cooking and you want to go to flip them, is take something like a spatula or whatever, stick underneath, and just flip 1 or 2 at a time until you've worked your way through the whole pan. And you'll be able to tell which ones you've already done, because they're going to change color underneath when they're cooked. Because to start out with, these guys kind of have like this funky translucent look to them. We want to cook them until they actually turn so they look like they're cooked. So just get them all in your pan and get them cooking, and then once we get that done, we're going to move on to flipping them. So as you can see, this is a lot of shrimp when you go to put this in, when you use as much as I did. Now, mind you, with this right here, when they cook down and everything, really what's in here, you might feed a couple of people with this, because, unless you're serving a lot of other stuff with it, it really doesn't go that far. But if you served other items like fish or crab legs or anything else with it, then this actually works for several people. You just put so many on each plate, and that works really well. So they're all in the pan and they're starting to cook now. which is really good. And as you can see, I'm getting ready to flip these, and all you got to do is just go through, like I said, take a spatula, flip them over, keep going, just pay attention to which ones you've already flipped. And then once they're all flipped over, 3 to 4 minutes cook time, and then we're going to remove them from the pan because we're going to do something else in the pan in just a second. So we want to make sure that we get these really done really well out of the way and cooked, and then put onto a plate to the side before we do anything else. So keep flipping these around to a point where they look like they're all cooked. Now when you go to remove these, I suggest you get like a slotted spoon, because as you have frozen shrimp and you're cooking them, there's going to be a lot of liquid coming out of these from where they were frozen, and you don't necessarily need that or want it. So if you have a slotted spoon and you're picking them up, it's going to drip through more than go onto your plate that you're moving them to. So that's always a good thing. But once we get these out of here and we get all of that liquid still in the pan in the bottom, we want to discard the majority of all of it because we really don't need it coming up for what we're going to do with the next steps of this. So just let them get cooked and then start taking them out of the pan. So as you look at mine, you can see the color definitely changed on these guys, and that's when you know you are completely cooked. And just get them all out of there, and you're going to need the rest of that butter that we had left over, because we started out with 2 tablespoons that we used, but there were still 2 left over. So what we're going to do is bring that other 2 in and melt them in the pan once this is all cleared out. So once we have this in here, we're going to go ahead and melt it down, and then we're going to bring in some minced garlic. Now we're going to use, I would say, probably about 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, and once we get it in here, we're going to cook it for anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute, because we want to actually get it cooked, but we don't want to basically overcook it. If you go over a minute when you're doing minced garlic in a pan, especially on medium-high heat, you'll kind of scald it on the bottom and you'll kind of make it taste bad. It'll take on a bitter taste. You really don't want that. But doing it 30 seconds to a minute isn't bad. You can just go ahead and put it in there and move it around, get it cooked, and it's perfectly fine as long as we do something else with it by that time. Just don't go over a minute, because you risk actually getting that burnt taste, and you really don't want that because it really does not taste nice. Now we're going to keep mixing this up, and in a moment we're going to add some parsley to this. So we just want to get this completely cooked first. Now when you bring your parsley in, you're going to need 3 tablespoons. Now we had a container already that had parsley in it. Part of the parsley is going in for this, and part of it's going to be saved just as like putting on top after this is already cooked, so it makes it look really nice. So the 3 tablespoons are in there, and we're going to mix this up. And then after we get this mixed, we're going to bring in 1/4 cup of chicken broth, and we're going to add to this mix. Now once the chicken broth is in, we're going to mix it in, get it thoroughly incorporated, and then we're going to cook this for 2 to 3 minutes, because we want to let it cook down just a little bit. We're just trying to reduce it. We're not trying to get rid of it completely, just bring it down a little bit. And then after we get it to the point where it's reduced, we're going to bring our shrimp back into this. So as you can see, mine is reduced. It looks really nice. It's kind of thickened up a little bit. So go ahead and return all that shrimp back in again, and we're going to move it around till we get it totally coated, because we want all of that garlic and the parsley and everything all over the shrimp, because that's just going to give it flavor and it's going to make it taste really great. So at this point you have a garlic butter mix on the outside of there with the parsley cooked into it to give it a really great taste. But as I said, you still had some parsley left over, so we're going to sprinkle that on top when it goes onto a plate or on whatever you're serving it from, so that way it gives a like really neat look to it, but it's also going to give it a little bit more punch of taste. And this is what mine looked like when it was done, and this has such a great taste to it, and you can serve it with so many kinds of seafood. I think you just might like this. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please like and subscribe. And if you get a chance, check out the Southern Mountain Kitchen website, where you can get a free recipe, check out the cookbooks available from the Southern Mountain Kitchen, and if you'd like to, you could order a cookbook at a discounted price, cheaper than Amazon, with shipping that is also cheaper than Amazon. So if you get a chance, check it out, and I hope you have a great day.